And they'll say, but we African Americans, we're different. And my response is always, now exactly how are you different? You're walking down the streets of Atlanta with an African from the continent, and you're born here in America. They see two black men. Period. So for you to believe in such a blatant lie that you're different, you're African American, you're different from the Africans from the continent, that is just sheer stupidity.
It is.
Thank you so much. Appreciate you. Thank you for having me.
You're very welcome. The entire world, especially Africans, people of African descent, have been listening to you for a while now. But I want us to go to some essential things before we get into some really pressing matters. Most people are wondering, you're Dr. Arikana Chiomburi Kwao, you're a medical doctor, and you're also an activist. How are you able to do all these things, and how did this come about?
I think in my case, I was just born into an environment where there was a lot of injustice growing up in apartheid Zimbabwe. I was raised by a father who was old enough to remember when our village was taken over by the British. He remembers waking up in the morning. It was pandemonium. They were men, they called them men without knees. You know, when white men were wearing pants, they looked like they didn't have knees. So he called them men without knees on horses who were torching their village, torching all the huts, and everybody was running around, scattering all over, picking whatever they could carry. And he remembers hiding under a pillar of firewood. And when it was all said and done, the entire village was like a war zone. There was only one hut left standing. His aunt was pregnant, due any day. And so they had asked for permission to stay. The rest of the villagers were told, in this direction, go past this mountain. In this direction, go past that river, because your land is now mine. So they'd asked if she could stay and until she delivers, because they didn't even know where they were going. And mind you, the way they mapped out the land, if you were an adventurous British man or a veteran of the World War, you were guaranteed 2,000 hectares of land in Zimbabwe. And when you got to Zimbabwe, you were pointed in the right direction where there was good rains, good soil. The plan was to push black people from the good parts of the country. So you'd get on a horse, you put a peg, you ride in one direction until either you or your horse is tired, you put your peg. You get up the following morning, you do the same thing again. So it took 4 days to map your land out. And then after that, everything in it is yours. So in their case, so he ended up staying because they thought if they could keep a child, it was the aunt who was pregnant, her husband, the grandmother who was the midwife, and another aunt, plus my father, who was the child who was supposed to be the safeguard. They thought maybe if there's a child, they would not kill all of them. And unfortunately for my aunt, it took 3 weeks before she could deliver. And the man without knees would come every morning with a horse. And he would get very angry when he found out my aunt hadn't delivered. So the fear that one morning he's going to come and he's going to be so angry and you just shoot all of them. He still remembered it, even at an old age. And eventually 3 weeks later, my auntie delivered. And they were told, 3 days, you got to go. A woman who just had a baby. And they were just going to find others, and they just didn't know where they were going. They were just leaving. Unfortunately for them, no sooner had they settled, another British was pointed in that direction. And he did his 4 days, and he mapped his land, and they had to go again. So my father was very bitter about that. And I remember my father telling me that these British were thieves. And I actually grew up believing that. And so those were the conversations in my home, the injustices of this world, how I just never understood how they could just do that. The Oppenheimer farm, when we would drive past it, you drive for almost 45 minutes at 120 kilometers an hour, and you're still on one farm. I'm talking Oppenheimer farms. Yeah. The land was larger than the country of Belgium, his farm in Zimbabwe. And towards the end, he wasn't even farming, not an acre. He kept all that land when the locals were squattering in the periphery of that land, struggling to make a living. At that time, he was living in South Africa now. He would fly into Zimbabwe just to be in the homestead for sentimental reasons, sitting on over 1 million acres of land in Zimbabwe. And so that's the Zimbabwe I grew up in. Then it was Rhodesia. And then I come abroad and it's the same. So I think that fire has always been in me, that something must be done. Absolutely. And so we're not asking for much as Black people. We're simply asking them to do unto us what they would want done out unto them. Ours is a very simple ask. And so I don't find it as a monster, a monstrosity, a tall mountain to climb, because we are speaking the truth.
Absolutely.
We're speaking the truth.
You know, it's so amazing. Now I see where this fire is coming from. You know, our DNA shapes who we are really, coming from your father. And years later, you are ambassador to the African Union. Now, hearing your story, I understand I understand the role that you played and that you took, and
I just initially I wasn't sure what I was going to do.
Really?
I really thought I was going to come back in 6 months tops.
Why? Because you knew you were not going to toe the line the way they wanted you to? Or?
No, I am the last person to have been an ambassador. A medical doctor through and through. I don't even know why they chose me.
I know.
I came from Africa, went to college, and first degree, master's, straight to medical school, after medical school, residency after residency, private practice.
Well, you know what though? I always wondered about that. Even the last time we met, 4 or 5 years ago, you were here in California. And I always wonder about that, but I think it was meant to be, because see where we are today and what you're doing, because let me tell you this.
They needed somebody without a filter.
Exactly.
No diplomatic.
Because if you had gone to diplomacy school, you would have been playing the diplomatic game. Who knows? But I think you were just destined to do this, because now when you were there and after you left, everyone lamented your leaving. I mean, till this day. Do you think that having left, maybe was a way to silence you? Maybe they should have kept you there, because now, fast forward, we have the ADDI. Tell me, what inspired you to form the ADDI instead of just sitting quiet?
Well, I made a decision while I was still the ambassador that I was given a mandate, and I read my mandate. It was engaging the U.S. government, all the branches, and also to mobilize the African diaspora. I could deliver on the U.S. side, where I spoke my truth as well, and the change was coming.
Yeah.
But the diaspora end, the more I spoke to the diaspora, the more I began to realize that we were misguided. We had limited understanding and appreciation for what was really going on. Right. And the one that really got me the most was the issue of France and 500 billion out of Africa every year. And they would complain about the 50 billion out of Africa. I said, yes, 50 billion out of Africa from corruption, that's a lot of money. Mm-hmm. But how come I don't hear a word about France and 500 billion?
Correct.
I just want to see 10 times the anger about France. That's
as
just
much
yes,
as a few.
And then only to find out they were not even aware of it. And the more I told them what was going on, the more I realized they were not aware. So then how do I move people that I feel are in the wrong lane? How do I move them into the right lane? I decided it was through knowledge.
So you had to start from the foundation, of course.
From the foundation.
Absolutely, because how are you going to start building a house when there's no foundation?
The day that I decided to do the first video, and I was going to go after France, I told my husband, I said, well, I guess I need to pack my bags. They're going to run me out of town. But I could have made a decision to be a mute, to drink tea and just do the Washingtonian thing.
Exactly.
But there were 1.37 billion people who needed a voice in Africa. And my mandate in the Americas, there were about over 200 million people. So it would have been over 1.5 billion people who should have had a voice through me and my mandate that would have not have had a voice. So the choice is, do I stay in Washington and be a mute. I could go back to Tennessee and be a doctor, which is what I have done for 25 years. I chose to be the voice, and I chose to deliver on my mandate. And that meant I did what I needed to do for the diaspora to come home. So that's why I started those videos, to speak the truth. And if you notice, I started every video with to my fellow African diaspora.
Yes.
I wanted to stay within my mandate. If anybody should question me, I would show them my mandate. Now, the fact that the French heard that speech, the French held the video, that's your problem.
That's their problem.
I was just addressing the African diaspora.
You were doing your job. Think about it.
I was doing my job.
You were within your mandate, doing your job. So now let's refresh a little bit. Why do you think, for those who haven't heard you yet and who may be hearing for the first time, essentially, why do you think the continent struggles so much and we are unable to get back on track?
Well, I think it goes back to the Berlin Conference. That's why, again, I spend a lot of time trying to reintroduce the Berlin Conference and letting people understand what does it really mean in your daily life. As long as we are Togo, we are Benin, we are Eswatini, we're fighting with a pinky finger.
Right.
Nothing is going to change. Eswatini has 1.5 million people. Gabon has 1.5 million people. And they're sovereign nations. Those are states in this country.
Absolutely.
Tiny states in this country.
Not even up to some states, actually.
Yeah. But they're supposed to manage. It is insanity of the highest order. So how do you expect a country of 2 million people to survive? How? They can't. What is needed is unity, and that's why the Berlin Conference is still alive. And that's why we have to come together. And as the small little countries, if you try to flex your muscles too much, they'll just kill you.
Absolutely.
There's a coup in your country, there are conflicts in your country, they get rid of you. And then on top of that, we're not supporting each other as African leadership, you know, the leaders coming together and taking a position together. Also the diaspora. If we could come together, we are the other group that could provide cover, because we are outside. It's very difficult for a man in Malawi to think continental, to worry about the problems in Egypt. It's so far away for them. But we in the diaspora, if we can just unite. You can imagine if you were to be the next president of your country in Africa, and you know there are 10 million, 20 million diaspora behind you. Even those who want to harm you, they'll think twice.
They'll think twice.
But that's not there.
No.
So those are some of the diagnoses that I looked at with my medical eye. And so I really did make a diagnosis, and I know it's funny. People will say, how come you're not afraid of these people? I said, to be honest with you, I saw patients. I know it sounds funny, but when they would sit in front of me, I saw patients, and I was psychoanalyzing a lot of them and coming up with all kinds of diagnoses. I'm like, oh, I got a pill for you, you know. It did not bother me, because that's what I did in my entire life. People came to me every day with their problems, and I didn't care. Your bank balance didn't bother me. Rich, poor, everything in between. I treated everybody fairly. So yes, in Washington, I still had my doctor hat. So nobody bothered me, nobody scared me, because they are human beings just like my husband. And we are here to solve issues. And in my case, the abuse of the Africans was so blatant. The disrespect of the Africans was really, really bad. And I just felt that I needed to do my part, and I was going to speak up. And I knew that I never looked at it as trouble. I just looked at it as, hey, this is part of the job.
Absolutely.
I'm going to speak my truth, and it is what it is until they run me out of town, and they did.
It is what it is. And now we have the ADDI, the African Diaspora Development Institute.
ADDI is just a continuation. They tried to stop me.
Exactly.
But I already knew where the solution for Africa's problem.
Yes.
That's the diaspora.
Exactly.
So that was, in fact, actually, they did me a favor. I needed to leave when I left, because I was now limited. I had taken the conversation to a certain level, but we needed to go beyond.
Yeah, now you would have been stuck.
I could have been stuck. I could have been stuck, precisely.
Yes.
So I often say Musa Faki did not realize it was part of God's plan.
Amen. So, Your Excellency, the last time you visited Los Angeles, you said something, and I quote, you said, "I have come to take you back to Africa, the mother of all continents." Where are we with that project right now?
That's why we're here to talk about Wakanda, the Wakanda city of return, a city that should have been built certainly decades ago when we had our fake independence in Africa. I cannot believe that in this day and age, 2021, there hasn't been an African country that has taken a position to say the children of Africa must come home. We speak to it, but nothing concrete is being done. So I think by President Nanado wanting a city of return built in Cape Coast, which of course is a significant city in the sense that over 80% of the children of Africa who were enslaved, they left Africa through Ghana. They were pulled from West Africa into Ghana. Those who came to North America, they came through the Cape Coast dungeons. They call them castles. Those who went to South America and the Caribbean, they left out of the Elmina dungeons. So it is really significant that the city of return should be built in that region. So we can stand at the edges of the Atlantic in Cape Coast, facing the Americas, and tell the slavers once and for all that while they may have won for over 400 years, victory is ultimately ours, for the journey of return would have been complete. But also we can look at our ancestors and apologize to them that it took us 400 years, but better late than never that we're back.
You know, it's interesting because when you think about, I think that's something for you. When you think about the fact that it's a journey of return, wasn't it a door of no return? There's something about when they were being brought, so now we're taking them back.
They actually labeled the door of no return.
I thought I read that. I know my history a little bit.
There's a door there.
Of no return.
It's still there. So we're going to turn it and call it the door of return.
That is amazing. Why Wakanda?
You know, when I went to watch the movie,
The Black Panther.
The Black Panther, I was so inspired.
Okay.
And that's where the name came from.
Okay.
It rings, it says something, speaks to our soul as a people.
Yes.
You know, people actually think there's a country called Wakanda.
There
was a debate online about there were serious problems in Wakanda. The leadership of Wakanda. And people were calling in, talking about, yes, I heard about the problems in Wakanda.
Oh no, you're kidding me. Excellency, let me ask you a quick question before this goes off my mind. How has this been received by African Americans, our formerly enslaved brothers and sisters, about
amazing
returning home?
Amazing response. Amazing. It's like descendants of the formerly enslaved have suffered from a disease that they could not quite pinpoint.
Right.
Because they had to bury that sense of hopelessness, not knowing where you come from. But until you are challenged with information, they break down. Because that which they have been suppressing, because there's no solution. There was no hope of ever addressing this issue. And so when we speak about the journey of return, it gets to the core. It has been extremely well received.
You know,
now there are some who may not want to have anything to do with Africa, but by and large, the response has been amazing.
Yeah, because I know, you know, most of us who grew up in Africa, we're not aware that African Americans don't know where they came from.
Yes.
They don't.
I was one of them.
I didn't either.
Yeah.
You know, until you actually come. Most of us didn't even understand the civil rights movement because that was not part of what we were taught.
They didn't teach us.
They didn't teach us. We come here and
they taught us European history.
Yeah, you can say that again.
Yeah.
And then now we find out. But let me ask you something about the journey of return, the flip side of it. Most of us in the diaspora are so disheartened by the leadership in Africa. So when and sometimes I felt a sense of guilt because most Africans are trying to run away from Africa.
Yes.
And those of us here are scared even of going back. I'm from Cameroon. You talk about the Anglo, the Franco, and all this nonsense that's going on in almost African countries. And now we're going to take our brothers Sometimes I'm almost embarrassed. How do we handle this? Have you thought about it?
Handling, taking up.
Me, the fact that as an African, it's hard for me to even conceive staying back home because of the situation back home. The leadership is bad, the corruption. Our governments don't even give us opportunity to come and thrive. Even when you want to do stuff, they make it difficult.
Let me say this. Being an African leader, having been up close with some of them, having sat in meetings and deliberations when they were discussing issues, it is a very difficult job.
Okay.
I can tell you for a fact, your president can't say boo without talking to France. You go to Cameroon right now, there are French soldiers everywhere. Why are they there? Even if I were to make you the president of Cameroon today, how are you going to deal with the French?
I'll try to be as courageous as you.
They'll kill you.
So be it then.
True.
Somebody needs to want to. You look at you. We're calling you Mama Africa. And you just said it. You're not scared. People have asked you, aren't you scared? What was your answer?
No.
Good. So don't you think we should hold them accountable too?
Well, no, we should. Absolutely. We should. But I think what is really needed to rescue Cameroon is a strong...
You have the solution for Cameroon?
Yes.
Okay.
A strong African diaspora.
Okay.
A strong African diaspora. When we unite and we decide we're going to defend Cameroon, we create that. But right now, I don't care what president you're going to put in any African country. Yes, they have a role to play. Don't get me wrong. But real change, as long as the French are there,
forget it.
Especially the French-speaking countries, they are a lost cause.
Forget it.
They cannot do anything without the approval of France. I was at a luncheon. It was actually a conference to talk about the implementation of the African Continental Free Trade Area. And during lunch, I sat at a table with about 10 of us. Several of them were ministers. And one minister said something that was, and he said it so casually. He had his napkin on his neck and he's just eating his lunch away, and he says, this AFCFTA, did we check with the French? He says, if we don't check with the French, it's not gonna work, it's not gonna work. So I stopped and I looked at everybody else to see their response. They were in total agreement.
There you go. That is the problem, Your Excellency.
That is the biggest problem. We have other problems, but that is...
That mindset?
This is the elephant in the room. So everything else, there are monkeys and squirrels swimming around the room. We got to talk about the elephant. The elephant got to move.
Got to move.
And in Africa, the elephant is France.
Well, like you said, the diaspora needs to listen. We have to have conversation and be united, because unfortunately, even the diaspora, we are fighting because what's going on and how people are handling is creating so much commotion.
But you know what we're doing though with Wakanda?
Tell me.
We're building a strong private sector.
Good.
Nothing stops us from going in as diaspora and building a massive poultry farm in Cameroon, employing the people. Nothing stops us as diaspora to go to Cameroon and open a massive toothpick manufacturing company, because we're importing toothpicks in Africa.
Yes.
Nothing stops us. We go in as diaspora. And you know, the best people who can neutralize situations like in Cameroon, diaspora. Because we're neither French speaking or English speaking.
Yes.
We're just coming in, we are creating jobs. What stops us from doing that? Let's build a strong private sector.
Correct.
And guess what happens when we build a strong private sector? The reason our leaders are afraid to speak up is because even our very own economies are controlled by businesses from former colonizers.
Right.
So if they try to say boo, those companies just move from Cameroon to Equatorial Guinea. And suddenly, 50,000, 100,000 people are no longer employed. So there's some serious consequences to their behavior. They have to be on their P's and Q's all the time. I'm not excusing them for what they should do, but we have a role to play. You see, Albert Einstein said doing the same thing over and over is the definition of insanity. So we can't keep doing the same thing over and over. We need a new strategy. And ADDI is saying, a strong private sector is where it's at. Why is the world going to Africa? Why are the Chinese going to Africa? Why are the Europeans, the Indians, the Middle Easterners? Because there's something amazing and wonderful. They don't care what the government is doing. They're going in, becoming millionaires in no time. And we're saying, can you imagine if 50% of the diaspora can all be millionaires?
Can you imagine?
And they can. Now, the governments have to worry about the powerful diaspora. They own everything. They're manufacturing everything. Now they're going to be afraid of us.
Correct.
And not them.
Ooh.
That's what we need to do. And that's the strategy for ADDI. To move in, create a strong private sector. Chickens alone, it's $1 trillion business in Africa. And we're chicken eaters. We eat chicken for breakfast, lunch, and dinner. Can you imagine just to set out to raise chickens for the consumption of 1.37 billion? We're importing chickens from China, from South America, from Europe. Why?
Beats my imagination.
Our agriculture team right now, they have a budget about 500,000 to start large-scale poultry farming in Ghana. They're putting together a plan that in 5 years, no chicken is going to be imported into Ghana.
That's absolutely incredible. So we just need to duplicate Wakanda, Cape Coast.
That's it.
Cameroon, Nigeria, Benin.
Every country.
Every country.
Every country.
You know, Mama Africa, I knew you would give me the solution to this. So let's talk about how...
And Cameroon,
yes.
We need to go into Cameroon as a strong diaspora with private investment.
Yes, and not forget about who is English speaking and French speaking. Let's
Yes.
talk about diaspora support with this, with the expo that's coming up.
Right.
It's going to be a massive one, and I know that you are one of those leaders that you not only talk, but you actually take action. You do things, and you recently endorsed an organization, the Odua Coin.
Yes. Yes.
You endorsed them, and now you guys are working together.
Let me tell you, the
Tell me
Odua
about
Coin,
that experience.
you see, we need to create an ecosystem.
Yes.
That's ours. Where's our Facebook? None. We need a Facebook.
We do.
Where's our Bitcoin? We don't have one.
We don't have one.
Now we have a Odua Coin.
Thank God for Odua Coin. I
Thank
see
you.
here,
Absolutely.
bringing our people together.
Absolutely. We need to create our own ecosystem.
Yes.
We have been too busy trying to attach ourselves to everybody else, but not creating our own ecosystem. The Chinese have their own ecosystem, the Indian diaspora. I heard in Dallas, they're building their own neighborhoods, Indian neighborhoods, with their own schools, the whole thing, complete Indians from India. Where is our Chinatown? Where is our little Italy as black people? But we're proud to be the only black family in a white neighborhood.
Yeah.
I was talking to a lady from Zimbabwe in Dallas, and I said, well, are there a lot of Zimbabweans where you live? Oh, no. I don't associate with Zimbabweans.
Oh yeah, we hear that all the time. It's shameful.
It's embarrassing.
And they say it with so much confidence.
They do. Yeah. So it's a disease, and you know, but again, I understand those people, and they need help.
Yeah.
The question is, how do we slowly do the mindset?
Exactly.
Help them have that conversation with the image in the mirror, one person at a time.
Yeah. And I'm really proud that Odua Coin is, like you said in your speech earlier today, is one of your major sponsors.
Major sponsor,
on board.
right? Absolutely.
How does it feel? What do you think a currency like Odua Coin can do for Africa?
Oh my God.
And the diaspora, actually.
Absolutely, absolutely. This is part of that ecosystem that we can pool funds together. When Odua Coin becomes like the Bitcoin, that is huge. And it's ours. It is ours. Because you see, our money doesn't even last a day in our community.
That's true.
This is one way of shifting from the Bitcoin to Odua Coin.
Or
The
from
money stays
our
at
local
home.
currencies that can't even go to the next neighborhood. You can't take your Naira to Ghana, you can't take your CDs to Cameroon.
Can you imagine? How crazy is that?
It's
43 currencies in Africa.
It's 43?
43.
I thought it was 13. I was wrong.
43.
Woo! Well, you know what, Your Excellency? I was actually talking to an African-American brother, a leader in the community, and he was a little not so encouraged by how he felt that African in the diaspora relates with African Americans. And which, you know, and I really had to explain to him that he has to understand that when Africans come, we are immigrants. And most of us are trying, it's the rat race, you're trying to fit in, you have immigration, you have so many things, and so sometimes it's not because we're trying to be neglectful. But then he pointed out to me, he said, the George Floyd situation, the Black Lives Matter, all these things happened. And every country in the world, well, beyond the continent, officially supported the African Americans, and that the Africans were a little too silent. And then he also pointed out to me that apartheid would still be a reality in South Africa, but for the contributions and support of African Americans.
Yes.
What is your message, Mama Africa? Please tell this brother, you know, something about what this opportunity is to bring us together.
The reason that we don't seem to be as united as we otherwise should be, it goes back to that same rule of divide and conquer. The African Americans being told, don't associate yourself with Africa, it's a diseased and dying continent. Some of them looking at Africans as inferior. But then there's also another side where some continental Africans, they feel superior to the African Americans. It is just insanity of the highest order. I often say if I were to take any of the guys here to Ghana, they're going to see two black men, two Africans. They're not going to see a black man born in America and a black man born in Africa. They're just going to see my husband and another black man, exactly. Two Africans. And if the police want to shoot you, they'll just shoot both of you. They won't know the difference. So for anybody to truly believe that we are different, it goes back to the brainwashing. We were lied to.
Right.
You know, you're different. I cannot tell you how many times I've been on the radio and people would call in and they'll say, but we African Americans, we're different. And my response is always, now exactly how are you different? You're walking down the streets of Atlanta with an African from the continent and you're born here in America, they see two black men. Period. So for you to believe in such a blatant lie that you're different, you're African American, you're different from the Africans from the continent, that is just sheer stupidity.
It is.
And we have to denounce it and we need to call it out. And people need to understand that we are one. We must unite.
Absolutely.
Our circumstances are the same in Africa and anywhere where black people are. They are using these same games to keep us where they want us. Doesn't it make sense that at a certain level we come together for the sheer survival of ourselves as a people? I hate to say race, because there's only one race, which is the human race. But for conversation purposes, I'll say the black race.
For the black race.
The only way for us to have real strength is when we unite. If we do not unite, they'll continue to exploit us.
Absolutely. So let's talk about the Wakanda One City that is being built and the return. Who's invited, who can participate, and how can they participate, like if they wanted to go?
Right now, the dates are December 2nd to 13th. You can go to our website, ouraddi.org, ouraddi.org, and sign up. You can go to Eventbrite. You can either sign up for $250 and you find yourself into Accra. You gotta find your own accommodation, food and transport. Or for $2,400, you can fly into Accra. We pick you up at the airport. Then we cover your accommodation, food and transport from Accra to Cape Coast and all the events that are going to take place in Cape Coast. Or for $4,000 from the US, we can provide you an airline ticket and we take care of you until you come back.
What kinds of exciting things can they expect to enjoy?
Oh my God. It's gonna be a total immersion in culture.
Wow.
An experience like you've never seen. We start with the welcome gala in Accra. Then we go on to Cape Coast. We're gonna start with the naming ceremony. where we're going to be shedding off our slave names and picking up our kingdom names. So encouraging everybody to go to Ancestry DNA, get your DNA testing, and they're going to tell you what kingdom you come from. That's where we complete the journey of return. So when you pick up a name from your kingdom, and when you tell us what your name is, we know you by your name.
Oh, that is so
So
amazing.
the naming ceremony is going to happen that Sunday at the Kingdom of Asebu, and the King of Asebu is going to preside over that. We're also going to have another day, which is a candlelight vigil, where everybody's going to leave. It's going to be just at dawn, when it's beginning to get dark. We're all going to be wearing white, carrying our candles from whatever hotel you're staying, and everybody just picture candles converging in one place at the dungeons. And that's when we're going to honor our ancestors. We're going to stand in that room where they were packed like sardines, and we're going to feel what they experienced, and we're going to honor them. But above all, we're going to tell them we're back.
Absolutely.
Stronger than ever.
You know, I plan on going, and I'm glad you said so. I should get ready my white dress.
Yes,
and,
don't forget that.
So
In
I'm
fact,
sure
you need to
we'll
tell
be
everybody.
informed what they need to bring.
You need at least 2 white dresses. The naming ceremony is something.
Yes.
It's going to be white. And pick up your biggest, ugliest rock.
Oh, okay.
We're going to be stunning the slavers. At the dungeons, we're going to line up along the Atlantic, and we're going to just throw it out into the ocean and tell them, we're back.
We are back.
You may have succeeded for over 400 years, but ultimately, victory is ours.
The return.
The return.
Your Excellency, I want you to share how well-wishers can support your overall mission. I'm sure it costs a lot. It's going to cost.
Yes.
For this futuristic Wakanda, which is the beginning. I'm sure there are viewers who want to know down the road how to support the overall mission. How can they support you?
Yes, you can go to our ADDI, OUR, ADDI.org. You can donate to the fund, the ADDI Development Fund. You can donate to the Women's Empowerment Program, Youth Empowerment, and we have also another one for what's the other program? We're sponsoring.
I know there's a youth, there's a women's. Listen, I have this here.
There's
Is it in here? Let's see.
Youth.
There's the Women Legacy Project.
Legacy, that's what I was thinking. I was having a mental block.
See?
Legacy. We have the Legacy Project, where we are hoping, once COVID clears up, to be sending students to rising second or third years to Africa for a month to stay at a university in Africa. Right now, we're going to be pushing everybody to the universities, the Technical College and the university in Cape Coast. While they're there, they're going to be paired up with the host parents who will take care of them on weekends and nights, but otherwise they stay in the dorm.
Okay.
They don't have to pay for anything.
Okay.
We're making it such that we cover their stay and they just get a stipend, but we want them to experience being in Africa. So again, we don't expect our children to know Africa by osmosis. We have to help them go back home.
Yes.
It's unfortunate we are not where we could do what the Jews do. The Jews, before age 18, you can walk into any Jewish embassy and say, I'm Jewish, I want to go home. You're guaranteed a round-trip ticket to Israel. We want to get to that as well. Absolutely. Our children must know Africa, and we hope to take as many as we can to Africa to experience their Africa.
And I want you to know, Your Excellency, that I'm incredibly proud and happy to support what you are doing, and the Immigrant Magazine will look into these options, because there are quite some options in here and amounts, and we will support and we will do some sponsorship.
Absolutely, we appreciate you so much, and we want you to be part of our sponsor for the event. So please, there is did you get your invitation?
You know, I'm on twofold here. I'm Mrs. Odua, because Charles is Odua, the sponsor, and he's going to come in again and sponsor as the Immigrant Magazine. We're going to go bankrupt by the end of this, right?
No, but what I was saying was, so you're already there. You've done a lot.
Yes.
So we're not going to continue to.
No, but we have to support. No, we have to support.
But
we will support.
But let's encourage others.
Yes.
And as for Dua, we really want everybody to know.
Yes.
I have already asked for 3 to 4 big billboards.
Okay.
Just one at the airport, one as you get into Accra, one as you drive out of Accra towards Cape Coast,
right,
and one in Cape Coast by the hotel. It's going to be a big billboard. I want his face there. I can't promise, but I've asked to see if I can have the president next to him on that billboard. If we can accomplish that, that would be great. If
wonderful.
not, I can get the chairman of the Chamber of Commerce. But I want people to know about Odua coin.
Yes.
This is something we all must support. I need to get him linked somehow. There's an organization called COSWA.
Okay.
I think it was last year or earlier this year. Last year. No. Yeah, it was last year. They did a petition. They were wanting me to run for chairman of the African Union. There's this organization, in 11 days, they had 29 million signatures in 11 days.
Wow.
And they were telling me that not even the United Nations can do that. 29 million signatures. So I would like to introduce Odua to this organization, because this is an organization, they have offices all over. They're soccer supporters. So all their thing is soccer. And you know, now we have the Africa Games going on in preparation for the Olympics. And so there are lots of games being played throughout Africa.
Yes.
The different countries are playing each other, and wouldn't it be wonderful to have Odua t-shirts, Odua cups,
absolutely,
have these young people just Odua, Odua, Odua. So I want to introduce him to the chairman for the COSWA.
Yes.
It's an organization that just have our youth, and they're into soccer, and they can spread the word really fast through that.
Your Excellency, I know that visionaries like you and Bright, you don't do this for the accolades, but because for the future, for our children. And it warms our heart when we're able to support you. I see you're also holding this book.
Yes.
It was given to you. I'm sure there's something that you're supposed to do with it.
I wrote this book.
Okay.
And it was my way of summarizing a lot of the talks that I've given. And I thought, you know what, why don't I just put it all in a book? And so it just talks about the naked truth. This is just as naked as the truth can be. Just, you want to hear it? There it is, in your face. Yes. Naked. Because we've been dealing with well-dressed lies.
Absolutely.
So yes, Africa 101, it is a journey to self-healing and self-discovery. I encourage everyone to go to africa101.org. africa101.org. This particular one is the hardcover. It's a limited edition. I will sign it personally, and I'll write a little message for you before I send it to you. The paper bag is not signed, is $39.99, and the limited edition is $59.99.
And they can get it online?
You can get it online, africa101.org. I had a few books, I don't think there are any left. I only had 2 boxes that I was able to bring. But I encourage everyone to get a copy of Africa 101, africa101.org. It's a journey to self-healing and self-discovery.
Which is much needed.
Much needed, yes.
Thank you so much, Your Excellency, for this wonderful few minutes.
Thank you so much for your time and the work that you do.
Thank you so much. And I'm looking forward to seeing you in Wakanda.
Wakanda? Wakanda forever.
Wakanda forever. Thank you so much for joining me, and see you next time.
Thank you.
This is the journey to One Africa.